Good morning, everyone, and welcome, replay viewers. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, but the Purple Martin action this morning here at our site makes it worthwhile. So we've had an explosion of arrivals of birds back from Brazil in the last few days. Today is Sunday, May 4th, 2025. Temperature right now is about 62, 63 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, it's overcast. Mild breeze off of the Atlantic Ocean right now, cool breeze this time of year. But that hasn't stopped the birds from migrating north. And let's see what kind of action we can get out of these little guys. I had about a dozen through last week, but that number has doubled this past few days. And more arrivals come back from South America. Let's see how close we can get and watch their action as they do their group flying, which means group feeding. Purple martins, North America's largest swallow. Birds that migrate annually between North America and Brazil primarily. In our winter, they spend the Brazilian summer down there, but they don't breed in South America. They breed in North America. Primarily now in human-provided housing. Very little natural cavities left for this branch of the species east of the Rocky Mountains. A smaller variant of martins out west, different species, slightly different species, still nest in natural cavities such as in the Arizona Sonoran Desert, in the saguaro cactus holes, things of that nature. But here in the east of the Rockies, they're all dependent upon man-made housing. Andrea, good to see you again. Thank you for joining. Mr. Master, good to see you. Going to be a lot of rain this week. Yes, starting tonight. I was looking at the forecast. Probably about in our area, Craig, about 5 or 6 o'clock tonight. And then all overnight. Oh, look at that takeoff. All day Monday and all day Tuesday. As long as the air temperatures are up, remaining in the high 50s or low 60s, I don't worry about the feeding habits of these birds, because there still will be plenty of insect activity, even if it's raining. I have a suspicion that these guys know what's coming weather-wise, so they're going to do a lot of feeding today to fatten themselves up for the next 2 days, where they can take it a little easier. Let's walk a little closer. Hopefully we still have a good signal. I'm on my T-Mobile service down here at this location. Hi, birds. You want to say hello to Andrea and Greg? They're joining us. That looks like a threatening rain cloud behind the houses, but actually it isn't. It's still a fair weather cloud, but that'll change tonight, this evening. As a matter of fact, the sun is trying to break through down here right now. Let's see if I walk a little closer. Maybe they'll do one of their famous mass takeoffs and circling around. Oh, you'll be at Jamaica? Oh, your platform's at 4 this afternoon. No, you'll be okay, I think. Oh, Andrea, they're pretty darn good. Thank you for asking. Things are great down here. As long as my purple martins make it back every spring, we're doing okay. And I'll give you a heads up. We'll do a live broadcast on Friday afternoon of Memorial Day weekend at Westhampton for the arrival of the first cannonball of the season at Westhampton. Oh yeah. Yeah, there goes the Canada geese that stay in this area. They were on a neighbor's yard. Just took off. Just flew over to the other side of the creek. Hi, Martins. Quite a few there. Let's see if we can get a rough count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 visible there on that house. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 19, 20, 22 I count that I can see. So add another batch on the other side of the houses. We probably have about 3 dozen birds now that have arrived so far for the season. And this migration will continue right through early June. What happens next, these are what we call the mature birds, or ASYs, after second year birds, and who will start arriving now in May and June are second year birds. In other words, the ones that were born in this general area last summer. So they're coming back for their first trip back from South America. So they'll have a combination here of mature birds and, well, I won't call them immature birds because they will be breeding their first season, but second year birds. So we could have in these houses here right now, 50 or more birds nesting here. And I have friends in the area who we have helped get started with purple martins, so there are other colonies nearby within a quarter or a third mile of us here. Oh, you went, isn't that great, Mr. Master? You tried out the new train system in Florida. The Brightline. Okay. That must have been really, I hope you recorded some of that. Yeah, Andrea, yes, these are the same birds that were here last year. How that works, if they breed successfully at this site, they raise a family, then assuming they survive the round trip to Brazil and back, they will come back to the same site here. They'll come back to these houses, as a matter of fact. And the mature purple martins, the ASYs, they have a lifespan on average of about 8 years, sometimes 10 years. So they will do nesting here 7 to 9 years. And last year, in round numbers, when I took the houses down and everything, we did nest counts and checks, clean out. These birds last year probably produced close to 100 baby birds. Now there is a reason for that high number, because the mortality rate for the first year birds born is probably close to 50%. In other words, if 100 birds are born at a location, only 50 of them are going to survive that first year. But that's nature's way of doing it. But once they get past the first year, then the survival rate of the goes up. I should say the mortality rate drops. That's a better way of putting it. You know, they unfortunately they subject to predators along their way. Don't forget, I mean, that's what a 8,000-mile round trip from here to Brazil back, 8,000 miles, whatever it is. I mean, hawks take them on the fly and things like that. But these are my buddies. And you notice how tame they are? I'm standing within 25 feet of the houses here. And they're not the least bit anxious to take off or anything. The people who study them for seriousness, some of the experts claim that these particular birds are, you could call them semi-domesticated. I mean, they're still wild birds, but it's not like, a pet parakeet or something like that in the house, a domesticated bird, but they're used to the human presence. And obviously they depend upon us for their housing now here in the East, in the eastern 2/3 of America. And this has developed over hundreds of years. People have been putting up martin houses. And as the natural habitat of trees with cavities and everything disappear, well, then the housing has taken place. So it's something I enjoy doing. We do our part. I'll give you a rough count. I have 28 nesting cavities available to these birds here at our home, our site now. That each of those house complex has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 wood house compartments, wooden houses that I built over the years, or years ago. And then there's the 4 plastic gourds hanging down underneath the houses. So that's 14 cavities right there. And then here's another 14 nesting cavities over here. And look at this right now, well, except for 1 or 2 shelves, they have all claimed nesting cavities for the season. So the males and the female senior birds have paired up for the season, and they've claimed a cavity, and then in a few more weeks, not quite yet, the female will start laying eggs, a clutch of 4 to 6 eggs in the nest. And once the last egg is laid, then the incubation period starts. It takes about 16 days for the eggs to hatch, and they basically all hatch within a day of each other, one day. And then once the eggs hatch, then it takes another 4 weeks for the little bald or naked baby birds out of the egg to reach full size inside the nests, where they're ready to come out and make their first flight. So it's about 6.5 week period from laying the eggs until the babies actually, what we call, fledge out of the nests and make their first flights. And then the parents stay with them for about 7 to 10 days, and they stay locally, essentially teaching them how to fly and how to feed on flight, and getting ready for that migration back to South America. And then around the end of July, by the middle of August, they start making their migration back to South America. But for the summer months of June and July, May, June, and July, we have them here. You see how calm they are? All right, they're saying, "Hello, Mr. Human. Thank you for putting these houses up for us. And thank you for putting the nesting material." Let me show you something else over here. I hope we have the signal for this now. I helped get them started with nesting by putting dried pine needles in each cavity. A couple of handfuls of dried pine needles. And then in excess, now they may take off as I get closer, okay, but that's all right, they'll be back. So I have this nesting material platform right here. And then these are dried pine needles that the birds will come down, land on the tray, and grab dried pine needles and take them back up to the cavities to keep refreshing their nests. Now you're looking right there at 2 ASY male purple martins, that deep purple color. They look like it's black, but it's an iridescent purple color. So those are 2 mature males sitting there. Let's see if a female comes in, because she's the one that has like a gray breast. And there's one peeking out of a gourd over there. Come on, birds, come on back and show Craig and Andrea what you're all about. See how tame they are for wild birds? What am I, 10 feet away from them right now? If that. Okay. All right. Now the one out on the end of the perch there, all the way out on to the right with the gray breast, that's a mature female. And then the male is the all purple color. Let's look at the other house over here. Here comes our resident swan swimming over now. Hopefully they will be building a nest soon. There's a mated pair of swans here, mute swans. Hi there, Mr. Swan. See, he has his wings up to act as sails, so that his wings are picking up the wind, and the wind is actually propelling him along the top of the water. So he's saving energy. That way he doesn't have to do that much paddling in order to move. They know what to do. Let me turn around again and see about this other house. What are we looking at here? All right, the two that are side by side on that lower shelf of the one house, that's a pair that's mated for the season. They've gotten themselves together, and they'll produce a family. I'm sure a lot of the others have already, but some of them are not yet paired up, but they will be soon enough. And okay, bye guys. Now, this is a communal feeding flight. They all took off at once, and they will swoop and grab insects on the fly out over the water and over the lawns here. So they're known as aerial insectivores. They catch insects on the fly, and that's how they eat. And that's how they catch food to feed their babies in another month and a half or so, when they bring food to the little ones inside the cavities. So that's a little fringe benefit of these birds being here. They keep the insect population in control. So you can enjoy being out in the yard. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me this morning. We will be periodically doing more videos and live streams as the Purple Martin season progresses. As the Long Island Railroad summer season progresses, as I say, we'll do the Cannonball on Friday nights, and then some of the Montauk Sunday afternoon return trip trains, which are always interesting to see because they're so crowded all the time. Thank you for joining, Andrea. It was good to see you again, and Craig, good to hear from you again. And I'll look forward to seeing your videos of the Brightline trip in Florida. That should be very interesting. Six of five, yeah. I think, doesn't that start this weekend or next weekend? I haven't checked my schedule lately, but 6005, don't they run that through early May through November? Let me check that out. Maybe if it's running today, I'll take a run out there to Spionk at noontime. We'll look at that. Thanks for that heads up. Okay, Purple Martins, thanks for showing up again this season. And we'll be watching you. All right, take care, folks, and talk to everybody again soon.